Hey everybody, and welcome to Home with the Halsteads. It's a beautiful day today, and we're going to make some baked beans. Baked beans are good with so many foods. Of course, when we think of baked beans, we think of having a barbecue and having hamburgers and hot dogs, and they're wonderful with that. But they're also good with barbecue pork, they're good with fried chicken, they're good with pork chops, or just anything that you want to eat them with. You can use it as a side dish, or the way that I'm going to make mine, you might use it as your main dish because we're going to put some meat in it. We're going to put some franks or some wieners or some weenies, whatever you want to call them, and we're going to put enough that there's going to be meat in our baked beans. So let's get started. I'm going to tell you what we're going to put in the baked beans, and then we're going to make them together. We're starting out with a 28-ounce can of original baked beans. Now you can use any brand that you want to. I'm using Bush's today, but a 28-ounce can of baked beans. You can double this recipe, you can triple it, ever how many beans you need to make. Just adjust the recipe accordingly. Now we're going to make our own sauce today. Some people use a barbecue sauce, but I'm going to make mine, and it's going to be comprised of brown sugar, maple syrup, Worcestershire sauce, ketchup, lemon juice, and onions. And I'm going to tell you exactly the measurements that you'll need to make this little sauce that we're going to put in our beans. I'm going to set this aside so that I can easily pick up what I need to show you the amounts. I'm going to use 1/3 of a cup of light brown sugar. We'll start out with that. I'm going to use 2 tablespoons of maple syrup. Now if you don't have maple syrup, you can use any kind of syrup that you have in your kitchen, but I like the maple syrup. It's a little bit lighter. I like it on pancakes and waffles, so I'm using 2 tablespoons of maple syrup. I'm using 2 tablespoons of Worcestershire sauce. 2 tablespoons Worcestershire, 1/4 cup ketchup, 1/4 cup ketchup, 2 teaspoons of freshly squeezed lemon juice, 2 teaspoons of lemon juice, and 1/4 cup of minced onions. We're going to mix that up. That's going to be the sauce that we're going to pour over our beans, and then comes the meat. I have 4 franks here that I'm going to cut up into bite-sized pieces, and we're going to add that to our baked beans. So let's get busy and make it. I'm hungry, and it's going to be delicious. Okay, for our sauce, we're starting out with 1/3 cup of light brown sugar. We're just going to place that in this small bowl. To that, we're going to add 2 tablespoons of maple syrup. Some people might call it syrup, but down south we call it syrup. So 2 tablespoons of maple syrup. To that, I'm going to add 2 tablespoons of Worcestershire sauce. And to that, I'm going to add 1/4 cup of ketchup. Just making sure that we get it all out. And then I'm going to add 2 teaspoons of freshly ground lemon juice. Going to mix that around. In fact, I think I'll use a little whisk to do that. And I know you're thinking, well, you could just pour the beans in a bowl or a pan, whatever you're going to cook it in, and add this, and you wouldn't be messing up all these dishes. But I like to make my sauce first so that all of everything is kind of blended together. The sugar is incorporated with the liquids, and then it's evenly distributed throughout your baked beans. So that looks good, and I'm going to go ahead and add 1/4 cup of minced onions. And there you have our sauce that we're going to be adding to our baked beans. So now I'm going to grab another bowl, and I'm going to empty our beans into this bowl, and I'm leaving the juice in mine because I'm going to be adding the franks, and I just want mine to be plenty moist and be able to keep the wieners, or the franks, whatever you call them, moist as the baked beans cook. So now we have our baked beans, and that's a little piece of pork. You can leave that in there, or you can take it out, whichever you want to do. So now I'm going to add the sauce that we mixed up. That looks good by itself. Goodness gracious. Just add it like that. Get it all out. And then I'm just going to stir that around, mixing it really, really well. Oh, that smells good. This blend of flavors together. And now comes the meat. So I have cut up 4 franks here. I've cut them into bite-sized pieces, and I'm just going to add these to our baked beans. I'm going to swap off and get a spoon and just mix, excuse me, just mix it up. Now let's pour it in our baking dish. I'm using an 8 by 8 baking dish. This is probably about 2.5 inches deep. And I'm just going to pour our baked beans into this baking dish. Spread it out. And it's ready to pop in the oven. I've preheated our oven to 350 degrees, and I'm going to bake it for about 45 minutes. But I like to stir mine while it's baking, so I'll open the oven and very carefully I'll stir this 2 or 3 times, probably a couple of times while it's baking. And then once it gets done, I'll come back and I'll show it to you. Okay, we're checking in on our beans. They've been cooking for almost an hour, probably about 55 minutes, and they are ready to come out. So I'm going to turn my camera off and turn the oven off, and I'll take them out, and I'll see you back in just a second. Okay, that wraps it up for today. Our baked beans with franks are ready to serve. I hope that you'll try this recipe. I hope that you'll share it, because everybody might not know that you can put franks in baked beans and almost have a meal. So I'm going to have some of this for lunch today, and I'm going to add a little salad and some sweet tea, and that's going to be our meal. So I'll see you soon. Have a blessed day.